It's January 3rd, and this is the Cape La Have, off out to the banks to fish. It's a scallop dragger, so it's not the best kind of fishing for the seabed, but those guys are going to have a cold week. Anyway, just want to give you a quick review of that. I was very motivated at the end of the last video by those two bowls I showed you, and now you can look at them again, and I wanted to make sure I could redo that because consistency means you can actually start putting them on a website with a, like a commercial section of your website, so you can sell pieces and you'll have them already made. I've never made that step in my website, but I think maybe I'll try to do that this winter because people keep asking about pieces. But you have to have multiples ready to ship and stuff like that, so it's a bit of an issue. I'm not that organized, but I kind of pride myself in just being unorganized a little bit, so it's not too commercial a venture for me. Anyway, you can see my venter kiln behind me there, so that's how I get all the fumes out of the studio. But anyway, it is now test time, because I've done the fire, I did some glazing, I tried to improve on it, and this is the big test. So let's see what we have. It's reading 109 degrees, so it cooled down quite nicely. It's my biggest kiln. It's not full, but I had some orders that people wanted, and I'm late anyway because it's already past Christmas. Oh yeah, it's a little warm in there. Well, I got some interesting results. This was an order for somebody. Oh. And they wanted their names of the entire family on the piece. So here they are. They wanted a glaze on it that would show the names that are written in underglaze all the way around. This is a 14-member family, I think. So this will become an heirloom and all that. So, and they turned out really nice. Let's see if the lid comes off. No, I'm gonna have to tap it. There you go. Not too much tapping. Oatmeal on the inside. I wax resist and fired it with the lid on, and so that looked pretty good. It came off very easy too. So there you go, blue, green, copper, red. That's the glaze that goes red in the gas kiln and all that. So the names came out pretty good actually. All right, so that's one. Let's get this out of here. I've got to ship that piece, and then somebody wanted a gigantic planter. And that turned out really blue too. Oh, a little bit of crawling on there. I double dipped this, but I don't think that will affect it because it's a planter anyway. So that's my bright blue. This was a refire, so I refired this one. Yeah, it didn't improve it. There was a blowout just here, but it actually bubbled a little bit, because when you refire at the same temperature, they can sometimes blister and bubble because the glaze is overfired a little bit, and that one definitely did. So I will probably throw that out. Here's a refire, and it seemed to do okay. What was wrong with this one? I can't remember. But I refired this one. That one's okay. It's the Winter Series pieces. I think there was just a mark on the underside here where I actually ground it, and I ground into the clay a little bit, so I think that's all it was. But this one turned out okay. So that's a refi that worked. Okay, so what do we have? This is the series I did, and I was so impressed at how it turned out that I wanted to see if I could do it again. And I tried to do some slip trailing lines on to give it a bit more interest, and I don't know compared to the other ones if that's an improvement. You can see in the water there's a bit of a kind of washing effect down in there, and then in the actual landscape I tried to slip trail some green lines to give it a bit more kind of feeling of hills in the distance and such, just using green glaze in the slip trailing, and that will be different on every piece because of how I did it very loosely, but they're still really pretty bowl. I think that's just like the other ones though. I was hoping for something a little different, but that worked out really nice. I feel like they're like watercolor washes in the landscape and all that, so I was very happy with them in the last one. Then I decided I had some speckled bowls already thrown that I would try it on the speckled clay, and so it did the same thing here. And the little lines that I was slip trailing have melted right into the glaze. So so they actually, I think they're it's very similar to the other one. I was trying the same glazes, just slip trailing them with like little loopy kind of slip trail lines very loosely. So that one, maybe I didn't do them very heavy on that one because I have a lot of bowls in here. This is the bottom for the actual planter. Oh, now it did work on this one. Okay, see the variety of colors in the water where I was slip trailing to create like a watery effect with the glaze. And look in the landscape in the hills above, you can see some darker areas and lighter areas. Those are the lines that I was slip trailing and hoping that they would melt in but create like a feeling of hills with some depth in them. And I think I did achieve that in that one. Let's see the other side. Yep, you can see a couple of the lines where they kind of a little bit above the actual green, so that gives it a feeling of something in the air, I suppose. But I love these. I think they've turned out really nice. And this is about an 11-inch across bowl, I guess. So almost 28 centimeters probably, something. But I've done these. I've got multiples because I wanted to try photographing them and putting them on the website. Here's another one, and yeah, I think I achieved what I was after. The water, you can see the lines in the water a little bit. And you can see a few of the lines in the hillside there. So there's how many bowls do I have to make here, but I know I can keep going on this. I'm going to try some big tiles too. And so I think this will become a major part of this year's work, following this kind of route. But who knows? Okay, I've got to hold them close to. Can you see the lines where the glaze was actually slip trailed in there? So it has a sort of feeling of reflections in the water, and then you've got the hillsides. It really does look like an out of focus photograph of a valley with a river running through it. I really like these a lot. But I was slip trailing glazes as well as doing the pouring, so it's pouring and slip trailing. I'll have to do a video of this. But and then the outside is the blue and the glaze running down a little bit too. Not sure what that was. I dipped it upside down in the blue. Oh no, I poured the glaze. That's right, I was pouring it rather than dipping it. But the greens on the top are actually flowing over the side a little bit too, which I think is nice. So we got two of those. And then this one shows the slip trailing lines in the water a lot. See, I've got so many glazes I could be trying, but these ones work together nicely. Oh wow, this one has a lot of movement too. Look at the sky. I slip trailed some of my oatmeal in this one over the top of the sky too, to give it some movement. I think that worked. I was a bit worried it might be too much, but I kind of like it. You can't be precious with things when you're actually trying new things. You've got to accept that it may not work. But those are very nice. And basically, when I'm doing stuff like this, I'm painting with glazes, I guess you'd have to say. And that one has a different feel as well. See, all of these, you know, they're the same, and yet everyone is different. But I do want to make some tiles. Okay, these two. This was one that I left the same as the originals that came out. So this is the one I made to try and see whether I could be consistent, and I could just make something very similar each time. And so that's the ones I showed the photograph in the beginning of the video. This is the closest to them. So I know I can get something similar if I took an order, for instance. And the outside, nothing's running on the outside too on these, so that's really nice. Here's the way I was trying to do it with the slip trailing. This time it was just in the water, so to give it a bit more depth in the water. But look at the greens and the kind of mauve, kind of purpley mauve grays that are in the green areas, which is really nice. And all that, it's kind of like the water splashing up on the rocks a little bit there as well. But I think these have a Lake District feel in England, you know, a moodiness to them. Here's another one where I was slip trailing, probably this one. I think this was the oatmeal that I was slip trailing in the actual water areas. But that has a lot of nice movement too. The speckled clay is really beautiful. It does add another depth to the piece. There you go. And here's one I just did the same on the speckled clay, no slip trailing, just pouring the glazes to see if I could get that consistency feel to them. See, the water doesn't have as much depth in these ones as the actual slip trail ones. So I think I've managed to improve on this, even though it's only the second attempt at doing this glaze pattern. All right. So I'm happy. I think that there's still other things I can do with these. I could play around with other slip trail glaze colors on them. I could change the color of the sky. I mean, there's a lot I can try and do. I've got other oatmeals I can try in the sky too. So these are both my yellow oatmeals. But this is only January 2nd, so throughout this year I'll probably be playing with this. But I've got a lot of balls now. I'm going to probably have to make some different forms. I have made a dinner set to do in these colors. A 6-piece dinner set, which I've done in my recycled clay, so that'll change the thing all over again. But you will see that come out in the future. So January 2nd, boy, did I get going this fast? All right. So Vaughan Smith at Westcote Bell Pottery in La Haye, Nova Scotia on a foggy 4-degree day. All right, take care. Happy New Year.